All right, I'm Bradley Thomas with the Art of Changing Your Life Coaching, and this is the Take the Road to Freedom Summit, where we're learning how to find your purpose. And today, my guest is Summer Knight, and she is known as the Innovation Doctor, and she leads Firecracker International, which is an innovative strategy to tactics executive experience, and she's experienced with Fortune 100 companies, government, and startup environments. Welcome. How are you, Summer?
I'm doing great, Bradley. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And you know, I brought you on because I want a well-rounded approach for how people have found their purpose. You know, I've talked to a lot of, you know, actual life coaches, and there's a lot of strategy on helping them do that. But I also want some people who have been in the corporate world and helped in that aspect as well. And I wanted to, you know, because once you know your purpose in life, or at least in that moment, you know how to make decisions faster, you're more confident, things come more naturally to you because you're just doing the thing that comes naturally to yourself. So why don't we jump, you know, into your purpose and how you found that, and share your story with the audience.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to, because when we really have our purpose, I think just everything about us glows, right?
Yeah.
And so my purpose is to propagate actually two interrelated principles. One is what I call one humankind, and I'm going to get into that in just a few minutes. And the second one is around multi-dimensional success. And that's my way, really, of contributing to the global improvement of the health and wellness of the world. So that's kind of a big commentary, but I think it's just really key that when we know our purpose, sometimes our purpose is very specific, and sometimes it's really big and really audacious, and we really are going to do big things in the world, or are doing big things in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my purpose. So it's one kind and multi-dimensional success.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, because a lot of times I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of different talents, you know, and they don't know which direction to go or how to incorporate all of them into whatever they're doing, or sometimes you have to put things on the back burner because the one thing you want to focus on right now requires just a lot of attention. So talk a little more about the multi-dimensional approach. Whenever you have many different passions, how do you start integrating those or separating them out to really start doing something you love?
Well, that's great. And so I'll actually talk a little bit about what that means, multi-dimensional success. And the premise of that is that all humans, each and every one of us, really deserves success and happiness in our lives. And so let's make it personal to the folks who are listening to this. And you want to achieve success in your life, right? And yet the modern life is so complicated, and there's so many different facets of our lives. What I call commitments of daily living, like, for example, family obligations, civic and community obligations, goals within your career, just to name a few of those, right?
Yeah.
So above these, many of us actually want to make an impact in the world. We really want to feel like us being on Earth we're here for a reason. We're here to make an impact. And so in order to attain holistic success and to create your own unique impact in the world, we coined this new way of thinking about success and impact, and really happiness and contentedness. And that's when we called it multi-dimensional success. So the definition of multi-dimensional success is that it occurs when you purposefully align your professional and your personal lives to achieve your goals and make your unique impact in the world. So that's the definition. Do you want me to repeat that?
Yeah, because it's obviously really succinct, and it makes sense. But yeah, please repeat it.
Yeah, well, I love to, so that's why I asked you. So multidimensional success occurs when you purposefully align your professional and your personal lives to achieve your goals and make your unique impact in the world. So it's a very succinct sentence to a definition that actually means a tremendous amount. And we actually break it down, every single part of that, and what that means in depth.
Yeah. How did you? Wait a minute. I think I may have missed something. Did you say you were going to break that down?
I sure can for you.
Yeah, please do, because I was about to go in that direction, but I think you're going to talk about it better than I can.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do is, remember I mentioned that there's two things. My purpose is kind of these two interrelated concepts. So one is multidimensional success, and the other one is this concept around one humankind. And and one humankind is a big tent concept, meaning that we are all connected as one human species. So remember, a lot of this is coming from my experience as a physician, as a scientist, as an entrepreneur. And the one humankind is really a global community movement that promotes the concept that we're all connected, that we as humans have more similarities than differences, regardless of race, creed, religion, nationality, anything. We all have so many of the same things that we want, things that we need, things that are important to us. And yet, each of us is unique. So we're all so special, and each of us deserves success. And we believe that it's our duty to shine, to strive for your greatest potential. And that if each of us is given the opportunity and tools to leverage our unique set of, let's say, passions, qualities, interests, priorities, skills, even quirks.
Quirks, definitely.
I got a few of those.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, I think we all do, right? To create our own positive impact in the world, then we could collectively really increase the positive intention on Earth and affect the long-term global healthfulness of our communities, countries, and the entire planet. So that's really what one humankind is all about, really propagating goodness by really understanding that we are all so much more similar than different, but yet so unique, so we have a real purpose for being here. And then if we really bring that purpose to light, all of us, we could really propagate goodness on Earth. So that's what that's all about.
Yeah, what I kind of gathered from there was that, and that's a really big, how I think too, is that when you have other perspectives of how people live, you're able to, you don't judge as much, of humankind. You know that they're just coming from a little bit of a different angle, but they still have a family, they still have brothers and sisters and a nagging mother-in-law or whatever. I mean, it's all very, very similar, but they're just a little different, or like you said, unique in their own way. And I think it's how you bring your uniqueness into the world, your quirkiness in some aspects, like definitely with this guy, that you're able to differentiate yourself, and then that's what actually helps attract people to you. And I think there's something, I don't think I've mentioned this before, is that if you just use that and be yourself and let that be the attractor, that's where the shift kind of starts to happen. And some people aren't going to resonate with you, and that's totally fine when you're working a purpose.
That really when we show up and we really live into ourselves, that we're automatically going to attract certain types of people and also repel others because we make them uncomfortable or something about us doesn't resonate well. But that's okay, because the key is not to be loved by everybody. The key is to be loved by ourselves, and then also just to really propagate success and impact in the world as individuals in a positive way, right?
Yeah. Now, I mean, once you're kind of getting started and kind of going after your passion project, what are some things? I guess let's talk about yours a little more. What were some of the signs for you that you knew you were on purpose?
Yeah. Well, in order to really clearly understand my purpose, I actually went through a process called this multidimensional success, and it was pretty incredible and really shifted my life because I think you mentioned a little earlier, we, humans were very complex, and we have a lot of likes and interests, and so it becomes difficult, especially the smarter you are. Oftentimes, the more difficult it is to pick a lane to run through, right? And so by going through this multidimensional success process, I was able to really understand what my purpose was and then move forward to it aggressively and in line. in a way that was purposeful, that I was able to really think about how I use my most valuable asset called my time, and have clear focus where I was going, and being able to also address so many different parts of my life. So a lot of people ask, well, one of the things you didn't mention is I'm a very proud parent. And so being a family member is really important to me, as important as my professional life, and as important to me as being a community, a global citizen. And so being able to do well in all those areas really took some deep thinking and preparation. So to go back to the multidimensional success, you asked, how did that work through? And I guess I wanted to break down that definition a little bit for everyone so they can think about it in their own lives. So
yeah.
Would that be okay with you, Riley?
Yeah, go for it. Love it.
I would encourage anyone, if you're taking any notes, to write this definition down again. And I'm going to say it, and I'll say it probably one more time. But multidimensional success occurs when you purposefully align your professional and personal lives to achieve your goals and make your unique impact in the world. So what I'm going to do is kind of take bite sizes of those, and you jump in and ask me
fun sizes. I like to call them fun sizes.
What did you say, fun sizes?
Yeah, fun size. Like the candy bars.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm going to use that again.
Yeah. It's trademarked.
Darn. So the first phrase I'm going to jump into is you purposefully. So this phrase indicates that you really take the time to consider yourself and your life. And I think that we don't take that type of time. We're scurrying, and I was just talking to a colleague on the phone. I said, if I hear one more person say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm just going to scream, because I'd rather hear, oh, I'm so purposeful, I couldn't return your call because it was not on the high, rather than I'm just busy.
Yeah.
So it's really consider yourself and your life. And this is probably the most critical part of achieving multidimensional success, because it really forms the foundation of truly understanding what you want your life to be about, what you want to be known for, or essentially it's figuring out the purpose of your life. And it can be different things in different facets of our life. And I think that's what gets a little bit overwhelming for some people. And the amazing thing is that the process to elicit the different facets and to weave them into one life purpose is actually achievable. And I didn't know that at all times. So that's why having a process is so important. And I think why you're having people come on and talk about this. So one of the valuable things that I found in really getting clear on my purpose was understanding who I was. So creating what I called my pillars of heroism. So as you mentioned earlier, I was a firefighter paramedic, and that's always stuck with me because that was a huge changing point in my life when I actually started looking for the first time about purpose. Yeah. I saw firefighters go into a burning building, pull somebody out, and save them at risk to their own lives, and I was like, wow, I want to have that kind of purpose in my life. And that just became a driving force. And so when I looked at my pillars of heroism, I'll just share with you like the top three. One was Humankind. I have a very big tent philosophy, came through that through my childhood and maintained that throughout my adulthood. I just love everybody. Even if you don't like me, I still love you. I don't care. So it's just one of those things that's just how I am, how I'm wired. The second one is actually this multidimensional success. So you see how these first two are like the drivers of my purpose, where I truly believe, and this comes as a physician, that all humans deserve success and happiness. And I'll tell you as a physician, when my patients hurt, I hurt. And the thing that was that really transitioned me as a physician to understand people quite a bit better is that the physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional pain that people were in. So when I was at a bedside and someone was passing into the other realm of their lives or their existence, people never said, "Oh, I regret excelling," or "I regret making this happen." It was always about what they didn't make happen, the relationships they didn't work on, stuff like that. So the multidimensional success is really about all humans deserve success and happiness. And I wanted to give that to every single patient that I had so they wouldn't feel that kind of pain. And that was another driver. And then the third was around heroism. And you heard me say this earlier, it's your duty to be the hero you already are. And I know that that doesn't actually align for every person. And this is where, again, you get really clear about who you are. Mm-hmm. Because I believe that it's your duty to be the hero you already are. Not everyone does, but that was a real pillar. And that's actually what took me to creating Success and Impact Group, part of the Firecracker International program. And it was really just kind of the pivotal piece. So I'm going to pause because that was just one phrase. Questions about that? You've just unleashed the tiger on this one. So did you have any questions about that?
No. Well, geez. I
can keep going.
Just keep going. Keep going because I know you want to. I know this the whole process, and I know if I start asking questions, we're going to go down. We're going to go in this area, but you're not going to finish. So I want to make sure you finish.
And we don't have to. So the next part was align your professional and personal lives. That was the next phrase. And the whole piece is once you set those foundations to clearly understand your purpose, then it's time to really measure how that aligns to what you're currently doing in your life, both professionally and personally. And that's important because I think you started to ask me the question of how did I create my business around my purpose, right?
Yeah.
I think you'll clearly see that as we're talking through this process, right? So to clearly see where your efforts are focused versus perhaps where they should be focused when you really understand your purpose. Yeah. So for example, now that when I learned that, hey, my purpose was around propagating the ideas of multidimensional success and one human race, every decision I made in business had to be about, okay, am I getting closer or am I getting farther from that? Or if there was two that would get me closer, which one of those two was I going to take that was going to get me closer faster, right? So it really helps you to focus those efforts, and having your purpose allows you to more clearly make decisions about how you use your time, and it allows you to identify gaps. So I think that was also a really critical piece for myself is I've started 8 different businesses, 5 of them wonderfully successful, 3 of them horrible, miserable failures. But it was important to understand my purpose because those 3 miserable failures were totally off my purpose. I shouldn't have been at them in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's so critical from a gap perspective. And sometimes when we see failure in our lives, it's because we're not on purpose. Mm-hmm. So our whole lives aren't into it.
Yeah. I think everybody has some of those stories where they felt like they wanted to do something, but then they get into it, and then it's just not what they really wanted. Yeah. And I think what I got out of that, if you're doing something and you get lost in the project that you're working on, and you forget to eat, if you forget to drink, and you're just having a good old time doing it, that's a big sign right there. That's kind of going down the road that is on purpose for you. So. Absolutely.
And you bring up a great point because you heard me earlier talk about facets. Mm-hmm. And so we talk about the 5 human equities. So your brain, taking care of this thing. Mm-hmm. Your body is number 2 because this is the only vehicle that you have for your journey on life. So if you don't take care of this thing, then you may end up
take care of you.
Your time, right? So it's critical. And then the other ones are your connections. So important. We're humans. We're social beings. We need to have those connections. The 4th is your purpose, which is what we're talking about right now. And the 5th is actually your success and impact quotient. So what is almost a return on investment or the equation for your where you want to go and where you are today, and where are you on the scheme of getting there? So that's kind of a success and impact quotient, really measuring how you're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
We took the whole process of being successful and broke it down into a scientific approach that's research based. And so think about your life as a corporation's life, right? So what is it that a corporation wants to do? It wants to create a vision and a mission and then have long-term strategy, right? And then short-term strategy, which is kind of like our personal goals, and then go out there and execute and see and measure against that. So part of having success and impact quotient is so that you really got to have something that you can begin to measure your progress once you really clarify, here, this is my purpose, these are the impacts I want to make happen in my life, here are the goals that I need to get to those impacts, and how am I doing day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, and you're there making that happen.
Yeah, I think those little steps, you said the framework of comparing it to something, and I really love the analogy of comparing when you're starting out, to compare yourself kind of like a little baby. You're kind of flailing around all over the place, and things are happening, and you just don't know where, and you need some guidance. But then as you grow and expand, with your business and in your purpose of that, you grow into a toddler, and then, an adolescent, then a teenager, and you probably screw some things up.
No way. No, teenagers never make mistakes.
No, never do. And then, then you grow into it. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to take 20 years to build a great business. It's not. But it will take a few good years to do that and kind of grow it naturally, because if you try to do it really fast and really hard, you're just going to burn yourself out, and then you're going to rip that baby apart. It's a bad metaphor, but.
Well, yeah, that wasn't so great.
Very graphic.
So let's move away from that metaphor.
Okay.
And that's part of multidimensional success, is that literally creating, so really understanding your purpose, really understanding who you are as an individual. So I shared with you, 3 of those pillars. I've got 7 pillars that I live my life by, and those are almost like my value system. Mm-hmm. And then really saying, what is it that I want to? What's the impacts that I want to make in the world? So for me personally, as you can see from my life processes, it is true healthcare innovation to help the world, help the communities, help individuals to be healthier, and also to encourage people to be successful, which is a huge important part of health that we never really talk about, and it's the core of us, right? And there's a whole process of literally creating what we call a success life strategy, and documenting all this. And this is why at the very beginning, as I was etching out what the definition meant, is that you really do have to take a little bit of time, do the work ahead of time, so that you can save yourself a lot of time on the back end. Yeah. And it's nice because it's an opportunity to really, I felt after I got done, that I knew myself so much better. I knew who I was as an individual, and I also knew who I was as a community member, because I got really clear that my happiness comes when I am part of kind of the cheerleader, part of the catalyst of helping other people be highly successful and impactful. And that brings me the greatest joy. But, I didn't know that about myself before I spent the time really investing in myself and understanding. And that's what this process does for you.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet you probably knew it, but it was underneath, and it may have just been something that lit you up, but you didn't. It wasn't as succinct as what it is now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think the mentioning of the core values, I think is really important when you take time to really know what your values are, and then you align those with your natural talents. It makes finding your purpose so much easier. Everything kind of starts to come to light, and then you're like, why didn't I know this before? This is so obvious now. But it's putting it through the framework that you're describing, that makes it so much easier. How long, to go through the process, that you guys have developed, how long does it generally take to go through that?
Well, I first want to share a little secret that I don't always share, but you just commented on something around the values. Is that our brain? So again, I'm a scientist. Our brain has what I call our conscious brain, which is everything that you're noticing is going around you. what the temperature of the room is, what you're thinking about, who you have to call, etc. And then what I call the underconscious, so that's a term I made up. It's not a scientific term, but it's everything else that your brain and your nervous system is taking care of. So digesting, breathing, but also there's a tremendous amount of thinking that's going on underneath your conscious brain.
Yeah.
And it's actually about 400 times faster than your conscious brain. So think about an example of you're standing on a curb and there's a little kid next to you and you see a bus coming down the road and all of a sudden the kid goes to step off the curb and before you know it, you've grabbed that kid by the shoulders, pulled that child back, and then all of a sudden your heart starts beating because you think, what did I just do? I just risked my life and that child, and etc. You didn't think what you were going to do. It just happened as a reaction, but in actuality, your underconscious made all that stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about values, we actually have a set of values in our conscious brain and a set of values in our underconscious brain. And the issue is that those two sets of values aren't always the same, or they aren't always prioritized the same way.
Yeah.
And that causes people a tremendous amount of anxiety and of questioning themselves, because oftentimes they'll have difficulty in understanding why they made certain decisions.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because the underconscious actually drove the decision rather than the conscious. See, the conscious brain, the values are, there's an interference of society and societal norms in that set of values in the conscious brain. But in your underconscious brain, society doesn't matter. It's all about survival. And so that set of values differs, and the prioritization of those values differ as well. So neuroscience is a very big part of multidimensional success and really helping people understand how they can make decisions more quickly, more clearly, and with more fortitude and staying power and not questioning themselves, because we actually go through and we pull those values out of the conscious and the underconscious,
mm-hmm.
prioritize them. That's really important. You asked the question about how long does this process take.
Yeah.
Really, it can take however amount of time that somebody wants to focus in. So I've had people get done with that process of multidimensional success and get it done in just a week. And then other people take a whole year. And so we actually offer kind of a whole year, interaction with people. But but really, you can take it at your pace. And so for some people, it's like, I need to get an answer and I want to get it now. I usually say go through each part, like a week or two, simmer on it, play with it. And I also say, things are going to change. Your life changes. And, what you write down one day may shift slightly on the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the, why am I thinking underbrain? Underconscious.
Underconscious, yeah.
Yeah, underconscious. And quick example for me is to demonstrate for people watching is like, for me this past week I realized something is that one part of me wants to work really hard, and another part of me wants to go out and have fun and live life, because you only get one of these. But I know going out and partying and having a good time and doing that is not going to get me to where I want to go, and I know I have to work hard to get there, and those two weren't aligned, and it was causing some conflicts. And what I did is I did some conscious work and helped to align those, and I came up with a question that works for me. Just how can I have more fun with the work that I'm doing? And it's really helped resolve and bring those two things into alignment. Because when you have those and they're competing against each other, they're not telling you they're competing against each other. You're just having frustrating moments in your life, and you're like, why isn't things working? It comes out in different manners and aspects to your life. So if you have those moments, I definitely encourage people to go check out your work, because aligning those, it just opens up a lot of doors, and then you just see things like, oh my God, that's why I was frustrated about this, and that's why I was frustrated about that, and now it's a lot easier to make a decision and go forward, doing X, Y, and Z, and getting things, that's a lot more balance that starts to happen when you do that. Things aren't fighting in your head, and if they do come back, to fight a little bit, you can catch it a lot easier. You're like, oh, that's just because of this. I know it's not a big deal, so I'll make myself happier or whatever it is.
I agree with you, Bradley, and that was a good example about trying to achieve a goal and also wanting to have fun.
Yeah.
And I bet you many people in your audience would have to agree is that's a big back and forth ping pong. And you talked about balance, and one thing that I share is that there's no such thing as balance, right? Everyone's tried it, no one's done it successfully, and so that's actually why I talk about flow in life and why it's so important to think about multidimensional success. So you just alluded, and I'm gonna use you as an example of fun and making a successful business. And how you've done it is you've started to define those two and then try to bring those both together in a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's really quite beautiful. I would also take that to the next level and say that when we really examine the different facets of your life, that being successful in your business and having a lot of fun, I break those apart for a little while so that you can really delve into what makes you happy, what's fun, what's exciting, etc. And that there's some things that you want to do in this fun box that just isn't going to fit in the successful business box. But if you give up that and you just go for the success, we've seen people who are amazing, that all of us are, I think, have done amazing things in the world. Famous people who then all of a sudden mysteriously end up ending their lives because they've ignored one part. So my hat's off for you for really trying to bring these, to do both of them. But one part of what we do in multidimensional success is to make sure that there is time allocated to that fun time. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, just like if you don't take care of your body, if you don't take care of that fun space, you become a miserable person.
And then no one wants to work with you.
Exactly.
And then you're like, I know my purpose, but no one likes me. So it doesn't work. So you have to have some fun, whatever that is, and if you can bring that into your business in some aspect, and it's not going to work for everybody, but specifically me, I have to bring it in because I'm just a
fun-loving kind of guy, right?
Yeah, and that's just like I joke around that I'm the love child of Tony Robbins and Jim Carrey, and I don't know how that's gonna happen, but I want to be able to inspire people, through my goofy humor and semi-seriousness that you can do this, or it is serious, but I mean it's
right, and I think
it's funny business.
And also thinking about that flow, right? Is that so you really have to be conscious about you getting that fun in. So sometimes if you have different parts, like for me, the different parts are obviously my business and also my community action, but also having fun time with my children. So I actually went, and so a lot of times we assume we know what other people want from us that makes them happy. And I actually went to all my kids and I said, what is it that you would love to do with me if we could spend X amount of time? And what I learned is that each of them wanted to have a date with me once a month and then have a overnight or short vacation with me just to themselves once a year. But everyone had different ideas. Before that, we were trying to go all out together. And it was making misery because the teenagers don't want to do what the grade schoolers do and all that stuff, and so it was just making life miserable. And by doing it one-on-one, we were able to do the things that they love to do and that we love to do together. But it also made me put that on my calendar, and so I definitely have even scheduled. Here's my work time, but here's my fun with the family time, and then I also have scheduled here's my fun with me time too. So when we talk, now we're getting into the granularity of this. Yeah. But that's actually tactically how then you end up making success happen in your life, and then literally getting to the next point of making impact and arriving there happily with your family supporting you, with you loving them, they love you, and there's not that anger that you often hear from highly successful executives who get there and then you find out their kids hate them or something like that.
Yeah, and then it just spirals from there, and it's not, like, how can I, it makes them feel like a failure and all that, because how could be a failure as a parent, but be such a success in business. And I think that's a really good point, is that if you can put some things, put the fun on the calendar. It sounds almost,
Absolutely.
put it on the calendar. It doesn't have to be exactly what you're supposed to do, but you can just put fun time, me time, hanging out with the kid time, and that way, you know that that's dedicated for that, and it makes sense, and you look forward to it because it's on the calendar. It's not just an empty space. It just, I do it now too. And once it warms up here, the dog over here will get more attention.
You mean in the rainforest that's in the background, or you mean in the snow blizzard-like conditions?
Yes, yes, yeah. This is not the actual rainforest. But yeah, since once it warms up, normally every morning I go out and play with the dog, and I've been able to. It's just been snowing, and it's just ridiculous out right now. It's like really cold. But I try to make some time, to hang out with the family, and I'll even give the dog the social time, and I'll take her to a doggy daycare and let her play all day because she needs that type of stuff. It is all about keeping, I don't want to use the word balance because I know you don't like it. but I mean, it is, yeah, keeping her in the flow of being, having that social, and people need that too. They need that connection. To feel real and human, and not like they're always working on business, and it's got to be, I'm going to make my goal, and I'm going to make this much money and all this stuff. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to lie on your deathbed and be like, oh, I'm so glad I made $1 million and have no friends. You're going to remember you're going to remember the experiences that you had, and
Absolutely.
that you're thankful for the people you've surrounded yourself with. Yeah. And if you do it, I don't want to say right, but authentically, and put purpose behind it, you can actually build a really good, lucrative, fun life that means something to you and your family, and money will be a part of that as well. So
the right amount, right?
Yeah, the right amount for you. I mean, everybody has their their numbers, I guess, they want to reach, but it doesn't have to be $1 million, or it doesn't have to be $1 billion. It's just, you live the lifestyle that you want to live that makes you happy. If it means 10,000, that's fine. That's what you do. If you're happy. If it means $1 million, then go for that. So, so we're kind of winding down here. And we didn't get into a whole lot of the business aspect, but that's actually fine because you walk through, a lot of go through the process of finding that, and I think that's a huge step. And thank you for doing that too. So what's one last kind of, I don't want to use the word final. It sounds so ending. What's a good piece of advice for someone? If you just had 2 minutes on the street with someone and you had to help them find their purpose, what would that be?
That is a loaded question. 2 minutes on the street and help them find their purpose.
Uh-huh.
I think it would be delving into who they are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll bring this back to business. I didn't get to the fourth thing that I identified as kind of my pillars of heroism, and that fourth one was a firecracker. So it was innovation catalyst fueled by the outcome.
Oh, cool. I like fireworks.
It's so interesting because then I had done a speech about really what is the purpose of life actually. And when I got done with the speech, we had a crew had been filming different speakers, and they filmed me, and then I actually took testimonial, and about 15 people left testimonials for the speech, and a number of people said that Dr. Summer Knight, she's a firecracker. She's a firecracker. She lit up the room. She's a firecracker. And it made me smile every time I heard it. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I had been trying to come up with different names for the business and all that, DSK, Dr. Summer Knight, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden I said, Firecracker International. That's the perfect name for the company. And so it's so interesting how your purpose can actually be such a huge part of your business. And so if I gave you strategies on how to build your business, one would be get really clear on your purpose, delve into multidimensional success, really understand what makes you tick, clarify your purpose, then you can focus on how you spend your most valuable asset, your time, and the impact that you want to make in the world, and really work on that from your business perspective, how you interact with the community and your family as well as yourself. Number 2, network. When you really understand who you are, you're going to attract people that are going to really help to step you up and get you to the next place. And that's actually what leads to number 3, mentorship. So when you're tracking those people, there's going to be a few people that they're not going to want to buy your goods, but they're going to be amazing people that really can help you along the way, can give you the heads up, or can give you like examples from their own experience. Now, they're not going to make your life happen, but they're going to be able to let you stand on the shoulders of their experience. And so mentorship is the 3rd. But in order to get all of that to happen, you have to understand your purpose, and you actually have to create a success life strategy. And that's where this whole idea about research-based focus on creating strategy within your life is important. And so if you want any assistance with that, we'd love to help you create multidimensional success over with the Success and Impact Group, part of Firecracker International.
Yeah, so that's a great segue too, because I was about to ask, where people can, find more information about you. And in that same vein, for people, that are watching right now, if you can describe the perfect type of person you guys love working with, and they love working with you, what do they describe that person?
Yeah, so our ideal client is a person who really wants to achieve real impact with their life. And you may have already seen some successes happen, and just want to take that to the next level. You're somebody who wants to think big, or maybe you're already thinking big, but you don't maybe necessarily know how to get from where you are today to where you want to go. Or maybe you even just need a little injection of gas, or a little bit of focus, or even a little clarity. And those are the folks that we love to work with. So we're not going to make it happen for you, but we have all the tools to take you to the next level. And so our ideal client is somebody who wants impact, who has some great ideas, and wants to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And really, I like what you said. You're not going to take them there. You're just going to help them get there by being a sounding board and by making sure to guide them and kind of.
Well, actually, not even that. We literally have research-based tools that are backed, have been used by institutions such as Harvard, Yale, Stanford. So these types of tools that are used by the best business schools in the world to create a success life strategy of really taking life to the next level. So, so it's not just warm fuzzies and back slapping. Although you get that from me just because I do. We have a team of folks, and we are very methodical about the process because we feel that if you are not successful, we have failed. So, so when I say, but in part of the process is vetting to make sure that you're really a person who wants to take it, and just like we talked about. People who don't want to take their lives to the next level, they don't want to be impactful, they don't want to own or be the captain of their own lives, they're not going to be attracted to what we do. They're just not. So.
Yeah, I get it. And I encourage everybody, what's the website they should go to check out?
So it's successandimpact.com and then /meaning, MEANING. So it's success. Impact.com /meaning, MEANING.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on and sharing, from your perspective and the science-based approach of helping people find their purpose. I think it's really important. And I encourage people, if Summer has resonated with you, go check it out and check out their work, and give them a buzz or shoot them an email. And I hope you help find your purpose. Thanks, Summer. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Bradley, thank you so much. What about our high five at the end, right?
Oh, yeah. Watch the elbow. You gotta watch the elbow.
There you go.
All right. You have an awesome day.
All right. Take care. Thanks so much.